Namaste and welcome back to Waking Up with Mindful Serenity. And we're going to continue answering questions from the jar. I'm going to reach in and pull a question out of the jar. I've got very few left in here. I'm going to take a deep breath just to clear the old ego away. And then I'm going to proceed to try to answer this question. Read it first. How do you get beyond the absurdity of internal politics these days? How do we get beyond the absurdity of internal politics these days? How do we get beyond the absurdity of internal politics these days? I'm going to guess a lot here and assume a lot here in the answering of this question that the person is referring to when they refer to internal politics. The thought processes that go on in our mind that keep us connected to our convictions and our judgments rather than seeing the whole truth and seeing the bigger perspective. That's what I'm going to assume this, absurdity of internal politics is referring to. How we focus on this little me and the little me as the center of the universe. It truly isn't the center of the universe. How our personal lives become so personal. How our version of what life is there for seems to be all about us, all about me. It's here for me. If I don't get what I want from life, then something's wrong with life, right? It shouldn't be. We have this judgment thing that we do. We assume life should be a certain way, and if it doesn't meet our expectations, then we judge, complain, and resist what life has to offer. And so I'm assuming that is what's meant by this question when they say the absurdity of internal politics. This idea that we are the center of the universe and that what life is here to serve us. And we have to realize how many billions of years the planet has been in existence. And compared to the lifespans we are living now, our lifespans are simply a little dash between the date of birth and the date of our breath, the date we take our last breath, the date of our deaths. Such a small little dash in comparison to the great big dash that's still in existence from the time the earth first originated. So yet we think that this small dash is all important, that my life is all important, and I need to get what I want from my life, and the world has to serve me and allow me to get what I want from my life. Otherwise, I'm going to close down to it. I'm going to resist it. I'm going to judge it as bad, wrong, and shouldn't be, and I'm going to assume that something's wrong with life. When in our reality, life is just doing what life does, right? And it's been doing it long before we came into existence, long before our little dashes started. Life has been going on for billions and billions of years doing what it does, and it obviously knows what it's doing because billions and billions of years have passed, and the planet is still here. Living life forms are still living. And we humans have progressed in our evolution from, the most basic type of man-like organism to the Homo sapiens we are now. The brain has advanced in its neural pathway development. We have adapted and have come this far as a species, and the species is so young in comparison to the earth. So yet we still have this idea that it's all about me. It's all about the human race, first of all, because we all live with a very species-centered type of mind frame that humans are the highest on the planet and they need to harvest the planet and use it in whatever way they see fit to ensure their comfort, not even their survival, but their comfort and their ease. And what a mistaken belief that is, an erroneous belief that has gotten us to where we are now, where we're barely clinging to existence on this planet, where the planet that we used and abused over the years is finally protesting against the human species. We may not exist for much longer if we keep this up. Yeah, do we realize that, or do we accept that fact? No, because it's all about me. Not just me as, not just the human race, but me as one little individual taking up this small grain of space on this planet. It's all about me and making sure that I am comfortable and I got what I need. I got what I want. Not just what I need, but what I want and desire, my dreams. And it doesn't matter what I have to do to get those dreams met, to get my goals met. I can trample over the earth. I can trample over other beings. I can trample over other humans to get what this me wants. And that's the absurdity of internal politics. That's the way our mind works. Sometimes it takes a great deal of suffering. Sometimes it takes an unbelievable moment to help us transcend that internal politic attachment that we have, that attachment we have to our internal politics, to help us wake up and see the truth that it is not all about me. It's about something far greater, and we get to be a part of it. I'm thinking about Edgar Mitchell, an astronaut that came back from the moon back in the 70s. And on his way back, he looked down at the Earth from the shuttle he was in, and he automatically woke up. He saw how tiny the Earth was in comparison to space. And he saw how tiny his physical body was, his being was, in terms of all that universal and cosmic life that was out there. So tiny, in some ways so insignificant. So if we're this tiny on this tiny little salty rock, why are our problems so big? Why are our desires so important to the world? And why should life even bother with meeting our desires or solving our problems? Like, are they really problems? Everything we experience is just part of this great big cosmic dance that we yet to understand with these tiny little human minds, that these tiny little 70% salty water beings have within them. So tiny on this tiny planet, in this tiny solar system, circling around this tiny star. One star of what? Billions of stars in this galaxy alone, and there's trillions of galaxies. And yet we're saying that what this little me wants in terms of the weather, for example, it better be nice. I'm getting married tomorrow. It better be nice out there. And then feeling such defeat and like the world is a terrible place and life is a terrible thing when it does rain on that day, when water falls from the sky to hydrate the earth that we get to live on, that refreshes life. Yet it happened on my wedding day. 8.3 billion people. I chose a wedding day, and it just happened to rain on that day, so therefore everything is wrong about life and about the universe. We get caught up again in the absurdity of those internal politics, thinking it's all about me. If we could look at that rain and just see the magic of it. Water is falling from the sky to hydrate this planet. It's come from the water sources that have puddled on the earth, and it has been evaporated in some magical way back into the clouds, forming ice crystals. And then when the right temperatures meet, the right cosmic circumstances take place, the rain comes back down to hydrate the earth again, to cool it and refresh it, keeping this cycle going. And yet when we look at rain on a day that we assume, because it's a day that I assumed was important, because we get so wrapped up in this me and what this me needs and what this me wants and what this me desires, that we cannot see the beauty and the magic and the miraculous things that are happening around us and to us in this game we get to play called life. For what? That dash from the day that we were born to the day that we died, this time around. And instead of experiencing it all in awe, we get caught up in our internal politics, assuming it should be a certain way that serves me. And me is such an insignificant thing. In fact, this me that we're attaching all this to is not even who we are. It's a self-concept we created to define who we are. It's a self-concept. It's a thought stream. It's not even real as that rain that's falling down on your wedding day. Go out there and look up at the clouds, and even if you're in your wedding dress, look up at the clouds and just let that rain soak right into your being. And that is the experience of life. The thoughts and the preparation for that wedding day and that expectation that it should be a certain way to serve a human who is so small in comparison to this universe. It just doesn't make sense. So that's why the absurdity word is used there. Because it really is. We are connected to something so greater, so much greater than this experience we call my life, with the big my attached to it. Life is just life, and we get to be a part of it. Enjoy it, experience it, live through it. Don't worry about the weather on your wedding day. Your wedding day is just a small little situation, a blink of an eye in your lifetime. And your lifetime is a blink of an eye in eternity. So, why get hung up with whether or not it rains on your wedding day? Just embrace life that you're living, because you get to be a part of this magical thing we call the universe. And Edgar Mitchell realized that on his descent back to Earth, seeing the whole picture, the whole perspective. And it changed his life completely. He developed ions after that, and he went into researching and, gathering researchers to understand the consciousness behind the experience, to understand this way of approaching life with awe rather than with, oh no. Anyway, I just think that was an amazing question, by the way. Thank you for sending that in, and I hope I've done it some justice, at least, in my attempt to answer it. But of course, the real answer comes from you. You have to ask yourself that question. What are my internal politics? And am I attached to them in a very absurd way, not seeing the reality and the whole perspective of life around me? Am I getting lost in that? Rather than the magic of being a human being on this planet, in this solar system, in this galaxy, in this universe. I think we need to ask ourselves those questions more than you need to hear somebody like me, who's not an expert in anything, answer them. Thank you so much for joining me. I do hope you have an amazing day. Namaste.